Hello students. In the last session we had discussed about the effects of in organic that we come across in organic chemistry. We had discussed about the inductive effect, the mesomeric effect, the hyperconjugation effect. In today's session we'll be discussing about the types of fission that we come across. Along with that we'll be also discussing about the electrophiles, nucleophiles, and the reactive intermediates that we come across. Okay, so an organic reaction is in fact a bond breaking and a new bond forming process. That is, in an organic reaction, so old bond breaks and a new bond is formed. When a bond breaks, there are two ways in which a bond can generally break. We call this bond breaking process as fission, or we call it as a bond fission is what we call it as. Okay, one type of bond fission is homolytic, the other one is heterolytic fission. Let us see what is an homolytic fission and what is an heterolytic fission. Consider a bond between A and B. So if there is a covalent bond between A and B, then a pair of electrons will be shared between A and B. A covalent bond between A and B implies, okay, a pair of electron is shared between A and B. If a covalent bond breaks in such a way that each atom takes away one electron of the shared pair, is called as homolytic fission or symmetrical fission or homolysis. So if the fission takes place in such a way that both the atoms get an electron each, that means this atom gets one electron and this atom gets one electron, then that type of fission is referred as homolytic fission. We call it as homolytic fission, or even we refer it as homolysis. Okay, so these neutral chemical species which contain odd or unpaired electrons, which are formed as a result of homolytic fission of a covalent bond, are called free radicals. So what is homolysis or homolytic fission? Homo means same. If the bond breaking takes place such that both the atoms that are involved in the covalent bond gets an electron each, then such type of fission is called as homolytic fission. And the neutral species that are formed as a result of this homolytic fission are referred as free radicals. We call them as free radicals. There is another type of fission which we refer it as an heterolytic fission. What is this heterolytic fission? Let us see. When a covalent bond joining the two atoms breaks in such a way that both the electrons of the covalent bond are taken away by one of the bonded atoms, then the bond cleavage is called as heterolytic fission or heterolysis. So let us see what is the meaning of this. Consider a bond between A and B. So a bond between A and B means two electrons will be involved here. The fission takes place such that both the electrons, the shared pair of electrons, is taken up by one of the atom, or if both the fission takes place such that both the electron moves towards one of the atom, then such a type of fission is called as heterolytic fission. That is, both the electrons, B takes away both the electron, as a result B becomes A minus and this becomes A plus because of deficiency, because both the electrons are taken by B, hence it becomes B minus and this becomes A plus. So such a type of fission is called as heterolytic fission. This takes place, the electrons will move towards B if B is more electronegative than A. If A is more electronegativity than B, then both the electron will move towards A. For example, if it is like this, if the electronegativity of A is more, then both the electron will move towards A, resulting in the formation of A minus and B plus. So hope you know what is electronegativity. Electronegativity is ability of an atom to pull the shared pair of electron towards itself is called as electronegativity. So let us take a specific example of this homolytic fission and heterolytic fission. See, consider a hydrogen molecule. So if hydrogen molecule undergoes homolysis, then you get two hydrogen free radicals. You get two hydrogen free radicals, right? Similarly, if chlorine molecule undergoes homolysis, then you get two chlorine free radicals. Okay, or take HCl. Here Cl is more electronegative than hydrogen. The heterolysis takes place, then it will be H plus and Cl minus. Both the electrons will move towards the chlorine atom because chlorine is more electronegative than hydrogen. So such type of cleavage is called as heterolysis, and this type of cleavage is called as homolysis. Okay. Next comes electrophiles and nucleophiles. Let us see what is an electrophile and what is a nucleophile. We'll see what is an electrophile as well as we'll see what is an nucleophile. Electrophile. Electro means electron. Phile means electron loving species or a species which has attraction towards the electron. Electrophile, electron loving species. So these species are electron deficient, hence they are always in the search of electrons. These are electron loving species, so they are in search of electron or a negative charge. If these species are in the search of negative charge, then these species should be electron deficient. So electrophiles are electron deficient species. Similarly, we come across nucleophiles. Nucleophile. What are nucleophiles? Nucleophiles are nucleus loving species. So you know that nucleus is positively charged because it contains protons and neutrons, where protons carry a positive charge and neutrons are neutral. So nucleus carries a positive charge. If this species loves nucleus, that means this should be electron rich. Okay, electron rich species are called as nucleophiles. So yes, electrophile is electron deficient species. Nucleophiles are electron rich species. Okay, let us discuss about the electrophiles first. See, these are electron deficient species. They are always in the search of electrons. They are always in the search of electrons. They have a tendency to accept an electron pair from another molecule. Okay, during a reaction, an electrophile always attacks the substrate at the point of minimum electron density. Sorry, attack at the maximum electron density. For example, see, if there are two carbons, or so this electrophile are electron deficient, so they are in the search of electrons. So always they attack at a point of maximum electron density. So electrophiles can be neutral, or they may be positively charged. So electrophiles may be neutral or they may be positively charged. Let us take an example of this neutral electrophiles as well as positively charged electrophiles. Okay, now, so positively charged electrophiles generally include Cl plus, okay, Br plus, NO2 plus. All these are positively charged electrophiles. Okay, they carry a positive charge, hence what they do is they are in search of electrons, hence they act as electrophiles. Neutral electrophiles, example is BF3. So in these neutral electrophiles, generally the central atom has electron deficiency. See, boron has an empty orbital, it has an electron deficiency, for example BF3, or you can take an example of AlCl3, even SO3. So in these, see, these are neutral, but they are electron deficient, they contain generally empty orbitals. Okay, they are in search of electrons. So an electrophile may be neutral or it may be positively charged. Okay, so positively charged, so they are in search of electrons. These neutral are also in search of electrons because the central atom has electron deficiency, they contain empty orbitals. Okay, nucleophiles are nucleus loving species, that means they get attracted towards the nucleus. If a species get attracted towards the nucleus, that means it should be negatively charged. So they are electron rich centers. And they have tendency to donate electron. So this electron rich center always attacks the point of minimum electron density in a chemical reaction. So nucleophiles can be charged or they may be neutral. Nucleophiles may be charged or they may be nuclear. So charged nucleophiles generally include OH minus, Cn minus. Always they attack the positive center. Or even NH2 minus or an RO minus, where R is an alkyl part. Neutral nucleophiles includes this NH3, okay, H2O. These are neutral, but they contain a lone pair of electrons. Because of this lone pair of electrons, they attack a substrate which has minimum electron density. So they contain a lone pair of electrons here. With this help of this lone pair of electrons, they attack the substrate. So electron rich centers are called as nucleophiles. So nucleophiles may be charged or they may be neutral. So the neutral nucleophiles generally has a lone pair of electrons. I mean a pair of electron which is not involved in bonding. Okay, so electrophiles, and these are the nucleophiles. Now, reaction intermediates. So in reaction intermediates, we come across free radicals, we come across carbocations, as well as we come across anions. Okay, let us see about the free radicals. Free radicals. Let's see what is this free radicals. See, consider a bond between carbon and another atom X. If the electronegativity of carbon is nearly equal to X, if the electronegativity of carbon is nearly equal to X, okay, and homolysis may take place. So homolysis or symmetrical fission, okay, where both the atoms involved will get an electron pair. So when the homolysis takes place, what happens? This carbon gets an electron and this also gets an electron. So what are free radicals? These are the neutral species which contains odd or unpaired electrons which are produced as a result of homolysis. Free radicals are electron deficient, hence they are electrophiles only. So an atom or a group of atoms possessing an odd or unpaired electron is called as a free radical. Free radicals are electrically neutral and shows paramagnetism. Okay. So another reactive intermediate that we come across is carbocation. Okay, carbocation, let us, or carbonium ion. It is called as carbocation or carbonium ion. Or carbonium ion. What is this carbocation or this carbonium ion? See, organic species containing positively charged carbon atom is called as carbonium ion or carbocation. It is electron deficient. It is electron deficient and it is produced as a result of heterolysis. Consider this: a carbon and an X bond. If heterolysis takes place, then both the electrons will move towards one of the atom. If the electronegativity of X is greater than carbon, so then both the electron will move towards X. As a result, this is formed. A carbon carrying a positive charge is formed. So this a carbon carrying positive charge is called a carbocation. Okay, carbocations are all electrophiles. They are electron deficient centers. Okay, so carbocations can be classified into primary, secondary, as well as tertiary. So what is this primary carbocation? See, this is a simple methyl carbocation. Here, the carbon carrying positive charge is directly linked to one substituent, that is one carbon. So this is called as a primary carbocation. If the carbon carrying a positive charge is linked to two alkyl part, it is called as a secondary carbocation. If carbon carrying a positive charge is linked to 3, then it is called as a tertiary carbocation. So carbocation can be classified into primary, secondary, as well as tertiary. This is simple methyl carbocation. This is primary because the carbon carrying positive charge is directly linked to one carbon. Okay, so here carbon is directly linked to 2. So this is secondary. So this is tertiary. So carbocation stability is always the tertiary carbocations are more stable than secondary. Secondary is more stable than primary. Okay, and primary is more stable than a simple methyl carbocation. Okay, the order of stability is so tertiary. Why tertiary is more stable is because of the presence of 3 methyl groups. So what is this 3 methyl group is they do is they donate the electron by hyperconjugation effect. As a result, the positive charge gets neutralized. Here there are 3 methyl group which can donate electrons. Here there are only 2 which can donate electron. Here there is only 1 that can donate electron, because when the electron donation takes place, the positive charge gets stabilized. So more the electron donating groups, more will be the stabilization and more will be the stability. So tertiary carbocations are generally more stable than secondary. Secondary is more stable than primary, and primary is more stable than a methyl carbocation. Okay, so carbocation is formed as a result of heterolysis. Okay, let us see carbanion. This is carbonium ion or carbocation. Let us see carbanion. What is this carbanion? Carbanion. Carbanion is a carbon carrying a negative charge. Okay, now let us take an example. Carbon and a X bond. This is produced as a result of heterolysis. Okay, if the electronegativity of carbon is greater than X, that means the atom attached, if the electronegativity of carbon is greater than X, then when heterolysis takes place, both the electron will move towards carbon. As a result, the carbon will acquire a negative charge. So this is called as carbanion. So carbon carrying a negative charge is called as carbanion. A carbon carrying a positive charge is called as carbocation. Okay. So this carbanion also can be classified into a methyl carbanion, then a primary carbanion, secondary carbanion, and tertiary carbanion. Okay, based on the class of carbon bearing the negative charge. So the order of stability here is methyl carbanion is more stable than primary, primary is more stable than secondary, and secondary is more stable than tertiary. Whereas in carbocation, tertiary is more stable than secondary, secondary is more stable than primary, primary is more stable than methyl. Why this is so? Let us see. This is a methyl carbanion. So this is a primary carbanion. This is secondary, and this is tertiary. See, when a carbanion will become stable, a carbanion will be stable if the negative charge is neutralized. When the negative charge gets neutralized, there should be someone who should pull these electrons. So, but methyl groups are electron donating groups. They donate electron. When they donate electron, what happens? The negative charge density increases, hence it becomes unstable. See, because carbanion will be stable if this negative charge is pulled away. It should be removed. So, but these methyl groups are donating electron, so they are increasing the density, hence it becomes unstable. So the presence of methyl group will decrease its stability. So tertiary has 3 methyl group, hence it will be less stable. So methyl will be more stable, next will be primary, next secondary, and then tertiary. Whereas in carbocation, so the positive charge, see, in carbocation, so carbocation carry a positive charge. So in the case of carbocation, so the positive charge should be neutralized. So if you want to neutralize the positive charge, there should be someone who should donate electron. So methyl group will donate electrons, hence it becomes stable. Whereas here we don't want a donor, we want a withdrawer, but methyl groups are donating groups, so hence it becomes unstable. So in the case of carbocation, tertiary is more stable than secondary, secondary is more stable than primary, whereas in carbanion, primary is more stable than secondary, and secondary is more stable than tertiary. Okay, so this was about the homolysis, heterolysis, as well as the reaction intermediates. Okay, thank you.